Hey there everybody, it's All Things Sure here to do another video and another review and another recap of Queen Sugar, Season 4, Episode 11, titled, I'm Sorry. It's Prom Night. Prom Night. And we know how prom night is, especially when you have been through middle school, elementary school, and you finally make it. We see that Micah, Kiki, everybody has gathered at the house, and everybody is basically taking pictures, and Kiki is looking beautiful. The color that they selected for her gown is wonderful. It fits her personality. The tuxedo that Micah is wearing, they have his hair. I like that look. He looks very, very smooth, very, very suave, and also conservative. And so, guess what? Guess who else is at the house helping to celebrate the prom with her nephew? We have Nova. Apparently, it seems that Nova and Charley, I'm going to say, has come to some conclusion, has come to some agreement, and they somewhat cohesive, and they're getting along. But as you know, Aunt Violet still has her on the chopping block. She somewhat has communicated, but somewhat she hasn't communicated. So we see basically everyone is at the house, and it looks like they hear thunderstorms, and it looks like it's getting ready to rain. And so Charley tries to basically give Micah an umbrella, but he didn't want to take the umbrella. You know how, you're looking real good, you're looking real dabbit, and you don't want to be carrying an umbrella on your arm. And so we see that Hollywood has pulled Michael aside and to tell Michael and Short to make sure that he takes care of what he needs to take care of. This is basically a special night for the both of them. And so we go on, Charley gives Micah money, and she tells Micah, she says, I normally would like you in the house, by a certain time, but due that is prom night, we're going to omit this one. So we go on, and then we find out they're on their way to the prom, and so Hollywood and Aunt Violet leaves the house, and then this is when you can tell that there's still some tension between Aunt Violet. The way Aunt Violet basically, she kind of sort of said something very shady towards Nova, and Nova took it, she understood why Aunt Violet said what she said. And so then we see, and then Charley and Nova took the opportunity to basically sit down, and Charley talked to Nova about the fact that she's getting ready to do this debate with Jacob. This is when we find out that Nova that she was doing research on her books, that she had some information that she gave to Charley that she felt that could help Charley in her debate. And then Nova gets a phone call, and we find out that Calvin has entered the town, and he's basically there to surprise her on her birthday. And she was basically, they were at the cafe. They went from the house to the cafe. because Charley was basically preparing herself for this debate. And so Charley told Nova, she said, I see the smile and everything that basically you have on your face. And she said, go ahead and take care of you. Do you make sure you change those sheets and just have a good time. So this is when we go on and we see that the prom kids, basically the prom kids have made it to the hotel, and they are looking really, really good. Especially, I love the way the two different styles of the teenage the young couple. Of course, Micah and Kiki, they kind of sort of have that conservative look, and then you see the other two, the young lady who's always looking very tomboyish. She was looking beautiful. I love the way they draped her in African cloth, and her partner, basically, who was going to the prom, he also had some type of African crochet and everything on his he didn't have a tux on like Micah. He had like a traditional African male garment. So the four of them, the four couples, they basically, four young kids, they basically looked very, very good. And even the other young fellow who was basically doing a solo. So we go on and we find out that basically Michael had reserved the room after the prom. It's like after the prom. So two of the boys basically, they were in the hotel and they said, well, we hear that there's basically two rooms have been reserved. And everybody started, Kiki kind of sort of felt very uncomfortable when they were talking about the two rooms and the fact that basically Michael had reserved two rooms. Michael said he basically reserved the two rooms is because he didn't know exactly how the night was going to be basically going. And actually Michael, he was really, really concerned about Kiki, how, basically she would feel. He didn't know whether or not if, she would feel comfortable, whether or not if they were truly ready to go to the next step. And so, and he, he was a very gentleman about that. And so we see that the young couples basically was getting ready to go to the prom, and the two boys came back from the outside, and of course it was drenching, raining, pouring down rain. And we see that they get an alert stating that the prom has basically been canceled. By the prom being canceled, that meant that they're basically safe. They're in the hotel. So while they're in the hotel, they took this opportunity to talk about their future. They talked about the opportunity as to where they might see themselves in between 5 to maybe 10 years. And I found it very fascinating that all three or maybe all four of them actually had somewhat of a map as to how they think that their future would go. The only person that really didn't really have like a map as to, something that they really wanted to basically concentrate on was basically Micah. He really didn't know whether or not if he wanted to pursue his creativity, which is the photography, or, he wanted to go into hedge funds or the corporate world, basically somewhat like his mother. So he wasn't quite sure. And actually, that's okay, because when not everybody, have their life somewhat mapped out. Of course, yes, it would be, and it gives you some type of direction if you, somewhat know what you think you might want to do within 3 to 5 years, I'm kind of like there, and I'm still kind of sort of somewhere all over the map, because basically going to tell, by my channel. My channel is all things show, so it's not really focused on, just reviews and reviews and reviews. You will see me, focus on videos dealing with music, concert, or sometimes you'll see me, I have a whole huge playlist where I was like really deep embedded in church at one time, so you would see the playlist on that. So it's not necessarily, to me, it's okay if you haven't really decided, exactly, in which direction that you want to go. Sometimes it takes people longer to decide, what they think that their future is going to look like. And unfortunately, we have no control over life, because sometimes life will come in and life will basically throw you a boomerang. So we see that Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel is Deshelle, or Deshaun. I'm always having some problems with dark chocolate, sweet honey chocolate. Ralph Angel is basically there with her, and she had noticed that Ralph Angel basically haven't been returning phone calls, and he's basically been avoiding her. And so she asks Ralph what's going on. And so Ralph Angel basically tells her that he really hasn't really been honest with her. That the fact that that Darla, he's been with Darla. And so of course she was kind of sort of upset due to the fact that, he weren't quite honest, but he was honest, but he wasn't really letting her know exactly, what was going on. And she had a sense that something was going on, but, she wasn't quite sure. So Ralph Angel went on and told her that Darla had basically relapsed, and that he's basically been there watching over her. And that, and then this is when, you could see the look on her face. She was basically kind of hurt. And then Ralph Angel basically went on and told her that he was somewhat in love with, and he was still in love with Darla. And she said, well, what you just said to her was beautiful. What you said to her was beautiful, but as far as I'm concerned, she said that I cannot and I will not allow myself to be second. In which she says I have, some respect for myself. In which that was beautiful. She didn't want to pay second, and I understand that. But also, everybody is like upset with the fact that Darla basically, we knew in my knowing, I knew that they basically was going to wind up basically getting back together due to the fact of what happened in last week, that the fact that Aunt Violet had Ralph Angel to basically come back, and Darla basically was very transparent with Ralph Angel by telling him exactly what went on and how she discovered that it was not just one person, but more than one person. And so I had a feeling that this was going to basically happen. Am I happy about the fact that Darla and Ralph Angel was getting back together? I was rooting for my dark and sweet chocolate honey, for those two to be together. Even though as far as the electrical energy, they didn't really have that energy the way that Darla and Ralph Angel has. Not to say that it can't get there, but then we go on and we see that Ralph Angel has basically left her and went towards to check on Darla. And he has basically been taking care of Darla. And so Ralph Angel goes and he basically sits down and he talks to Darla, and he let Darla know basically what was going on. And the other thing that I liked about Deshelle, anyway, Sweet Chocolate, is that she was very basically really concerned about her. And I thought that she was going to, just go off the handle. She didn't really go off the handle. She did say that her and him need to, basically get together as a chart, a schedule, due to the fact that her son and her daughter and they are best friends, and make sure that their play time stays, intact, because they have developed a real strong bond between their children have, developed a strong bond between each other. So they didn't want to basically break that up. So we go on and we see that Ralph Angel and of course Darla is basically sitting there, and Darla is basically talking to Ralph Angel and asking Ralph Angel, can he, forgive her for, basically, what she has done. And Ralph Angel is, in his expression, he's a very good actor. So to make a long story short, they're going to try to make a go at it. Am I happy about it? Am I sorry with it? And somewhat I am, because I know that Darla is going to do something that's going to put Ralph Angel, she's just going to do something. What she going to do, I have no idea. We find out that she went back to work her program. She went, to get in contact with her sponsor. She should have did that a long time ago, but hey, people do things when they are basically ready. So, am I sorry that the two of them kind of going to get back together? Yeah, I am sorry about that one. Am I sorry about it? Yeah, I'm sorry about it. We go on, and Calvin has basically entered into the town. He has basically bought Nova some flowers, and to come over and basically celebrate her birthday. He's very happy to see her. He's very happy to see them, and of course we know that they have chemistry out of the world. And so Calvin basically talk about, and Nova talk about the commitment, due to the fact that Nova is kind of sort of shaky when it comes to commitment, because when season 1, first year, she was just like all over the place when it came to commitment. She wasn't really there with anyone. And due to the fact that there is going to be, in my opinion, there is going to be some challenges with these two, even though they're passionately in love with each other, and even though they want to be with each other. And basically Calvin has thought about it, and he's thinking about coming back to the parish to basically be with Nova. But it seems like they're going to have some difficulty, because Nova is, a notarized writer now, and time is of the essence, and he is co-parenting with his sons. So that's going to be a little bit basically challenging for them. But I will say that the photograph and the cinematography, especially on these two, there were some beautiful, beautiful shots. Extremely wonderful, exotic shots. I enjoyed those shots. I'm a photographer, somewhat by trade. And so we see that uh, Hollywood and Violet basically had got caught in the storm. They got soaking wet, and basically Hollywood and Aunt Violet came in, and Hollywood received a package basically, and we find out that there was stuff that was basically for his motorcycle. And of course, Aunt Violet, she's not in agreement with this motorcycle. And she tells Hollywood, I'm not getting on this motorcycle. And then this is when Aunt Violet tells Hollywood, oh, you're so, you don't really like, I don't know how he phrased it, since you're kind of boring. And so this is when Aunt Violet says, what was that? What was that? I don't think, what's that thing that they, Alexis, yes. So she says, Alexis, cut on was Aunt Violet's something playlist. And so Alexis cut on the type of music that Aunt Violet likes. She has a playlist. And I love the fact that they're very updated due to the fact that they're playing around with this technology, and Aunt Violet has Alexis, and she has her playlist of music and everything. And so we see Aunt Violet get very sensual, very sexy with Hollywood. And basically, it was basically about time, because that Aunt Violet's been like really distant when it comes towards her husband. And so we see that Aunt Violet does fancy dancing, or dancing for money, Tina Turner, private dancing. So she starts to do kind of sort of like a private dancing for like Hollywood. And so we go on, and then we see, and then Hollywood is being bathed by Aunt Violet. She's basically washing her husband. She's basically washing his back. She's basically pampering him. And they're there having a conversation. And then this is when he still basically is still looking at trying to put together a group for men, basically a social group for men, where they can still and basically go and talk about their problems and issues. And then this is when Aunt Violet says, well, you say that I'm the only one that you can have an intelligent conversation with. And so if you're still trying to do this, she says, I'm basically there, for you. And this is when we go on and we find that Hollywood makes start to name the name of his men's group that he basically want to do. And so it seems that Hollywood is basically really going to put together this social men's group where they can have a place where they can talk about their issues and situation. And basically that's really good. Men do have clubs. I think he said he was going to call it the social club or everything, but sometimes those social clubs are basically can be sort of what gentlemen's social clubs, kind of for sexual pleasure and stuff like that. And so for him to basically want to put together something that's really going to be beneficial seems like it's a good idea. And we have the meeting between Jacob and basically Charley. Charley and Jacob have this chemistry that is very uncanny. You can tell that they do have an attraction for each other, and that Jacob really does like Charley. Now, Jacob comes to the diner to tell Charley that it's a done deal, that he has the ticket. It's a done deal. She might as well step down because it's been rigged. And so Charley says, basically, no way, I'm not doing it. And so this is when Charley says, do you really know Frances, your mother? And this is when Charley played back the recording that Frances and the conversation that they had with each other. And Jacob basically heard his mother in a racist rage. And so this is when Charley says to Jacob, this is your mother. Do you really know your mother? And then this is when they sit down and they have a conversation. And so Charley asks Jacob to, step down from the race. And Jacob says, I can't step down from the race. I really don't want to be the councilman, but I have really no choice. To me, he says, I don't really have any choice, so what else I can do? He says, basically, I can work with you. And Charley is like, no, I don't want you to work with me. I want you to basically step down. And so this is when, this is when Jacob came up with the idea where he said, well, maybe I can forfeit it. Maybe I can do something that will disqualify myself for, running the race. And so this is when Charley says, well, maybe I have something that could help you. I can help you with it. And so this is when Charley basically gives Jacob the book that Noah basically gave her earlier during the day when she was at the diner, basically helping Charley to get ready for the debate. And in that book is a lot of historical stuff between the Brosiers and the Landry. And this is when Jacob finds out a really interesting, a very interesting secret. And then we see the following day that Charley is talking to Noah and telling Noah to cut on the TV. And there we see that Jacob is basically getting ready to step down from the race. And the reason why he's stepping down from the race, he's basically telling, the folks that he found out a secret. And the secret was that his great-grandmother is an African-American woman. And then basically that's when the scene basically ended. Now, and that was the end of episode 11. We have 2 more to go, so we have 12 and 13, so they're doing 13 episodes. I don't know whether or not if this is a good move on Charley's part. Basically, like Nova said, it could basically damage or hurt basically both of them. It could basically, Charley thinking that being that he revealed this secret about his great-grandmother being an African-American could sway the voters more so over to him due to the fact that he had, shared the secret, and due to the fact that Charley did not share the secret that when the beginning of when she was trying to get the sugar mill up and going, that she really wasn't being really honest with them when it came to the operation of the sugar mill. And so it could, in one hand, it could, work against her. But then we will never know. Now, when it comes to Nova and Calvin, I don't really basically I think the relationship is sincere. I think it's solid. I think that they both of them are in love with each other. But I also think that there's more stuff that we don't know about, and that it has not been revealed in the book. And so we are still, because you know how Ava and Oprah get, like I said earlier, railroad, the roller coaster. 1 minute we're up, next minute we're down. So right now we're on an even keel. But I believe in the next 2 episodes we're going to be going up, and we're getting ready to have a dip. Now, What that dip gonna be, we don't know. So we also know that the prom has been halted. No one, the kids all dressed up and they had nowhere to go. And yeah, and Ralph Angel and Darla. Ralph Angel and Darla are going to be going to be a dysfunctional couple. Because she is going to do something. I don't know what, but it's going to be dysfunctional. Here's my question, those of you all who are following me. Do you think that the fact that Charley revealed this secret about Jacob's great-grandmother is going to damage her, or is it going to help her? Question number one. Question number two. Do you think that the fact that Calvin and Nova has gotten back together, that's going to affect that the book tour that Nova is basically on, and will there be another ex lover popping up just like we had Dr. Octavia and the other woman Shantae? Do you think someone else, another secret love, is going to pop up in Nova's life? And what's going to go on with Aunt Violet due to the fact that she still has somewhat these demons that she still has to deal with. She still has to deal with Nova and that blood and blessings. So, until the next time, I'm going to say this is all things. And this is all things, Cheryl. Hit the notification, like and comment, and become a subscriber. And like I tell you all, you never know when I'm going to pop up. It could be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And today's Friday. And so until the next time, remember, love rules and love is for everyone. And let's be humble and let's be kind. Take care.